Hello everybody, and thank you for coming back to the channel and to this saga of mine with the Guillows Hurricane RC conversion. Now, as you might have seen in the last video, I've done several attempts at flying and it just doesn't fly. It doesn't get enough speed and doesn't generate enough lift. So what I'm going to try to do this time is to make a poll. Let's see, like an opinion poll, and let's see what some of you think of the options that I have. So far, I'm going to say the first option, kind of my natural option, is to not give up. I'm close to giving up already, but I somehow don't want to give up. But how to fix it then, right? So one of the options that I think that might fix it is to strip all the tissue off, because it's got the paint, and some of you have pointed out that the paint is too heavy. It's a luxury I can't afford. So an option would be to strip it off. It would be a pity for the markings and things like that, because they are quite nice. And basically whatever I can to recover it, right? So I think the tail surfaces I wouldn't be able to recover because those are wood, they're not tissued, but basically all the fuselage and especially the wings, take it off, and with that also remove a portion of the weight. How much weight, that would be to see, but that would be an option. So remove it and then put on other tissue, of course. Then another option would be not to give up, would be to generate more lift. So how to generate more lift, right? So that means that I probably need a thicker wing, kind of a thicker camber, I think it's called, because I don't know if you can see it, but it is really a very narrow wing. So an idea I was having is to peel back, kind of surgery, right? Peel back, or maybe peel forward the tissue, put onto the ribs maybe another extension of balsa, so that it generates more lift, so that it has maybe a more rounded leading edge, I think would suit it, and then much thicker wing from that perspective, that more basically that the air has a longer travel over the top of the wing than under the wing, and thus creating more lift. Would be probably very complicated and very messy, but I'm willing to try it, right? There's not much of another option. Another option would be to just leave it as is, hang it from the ceiling, leave it there as a testament to my failure. Also, why not? It doesn't look so bad. I've even got the wheels, so it doesn't look so tremendously bad. Even though it is a little bit broken, the wing is a little bit loose, as you see. It's almost an ornithopter, right? So I would have to fix that anyhow. But that would be then the option of not giving up. Second option, leaving it as is and decoration. Another option would be converting it back to rubber powered, right? It's never been a rubber powered model, but the design is for rubber power. I'm not sure that would really help very much. It might have a bit more thrust at the beginning. It might generate enough speed to fly, but I think it would end up being even flopping down, maybe flying a little bit further, but it's probably not going to be a good flyer as is, because of the same problem, right? The weight, so the load factor, and the lift generation. So rubber powered would be an option, but I'm somehow not convinced of it. The other option is just to scrap it, pull out the electronics, use I think the electronics are good. I've got the motor there with the gears, I've got the ESC, that should be working. I've got one servo, so basically pull out all the electronics, or maybe let it lying, and then whenever I need electronics, actually I'm not using this electronics so much more now, but maybe for other projects, maybe some ground up machines and maybe some cars or anything like that, try to investigate that perspective. So basically park it aside, and then when the moment comes, rip it up and use it for parts, which I think would be a pity, but it's probably, I think it's going to end up like that. So that's then the option of using the parts and basically giving up on it, which is also possible. And then another option, which is a surprise option, nothing to do with a Hurricane, or maybe something to do with a Hurricane, is to fix the Spitfire. Now the Spitfire was my first RC conversion of the Guillows models. I think my first aeroplane that flew actually, and I did it because I wanted to avoid breaking another one, and it has flown. It is messy. I do appreciate the sloppiness of the quality of my work, but the big difference I think that this one has is that it's not painted. I tissued it, and even the colors, those are with tissue, are done with tissue, which I think is maybe also the reason for the weight. But also the design of the wing, right? You can see that the Spitfire, even if it's missing an aileron on one side, it's a much wider wing, much wider, yes. And it's also, I believe, I don't know if it's much thicker, but I think it is a little bit thicker. So I mean, it wasn't an acrobatic model for sure, but it did hold itself up in the air quite well. So that would be also an option to maybe put the Hurricane aside, try to fix this one up and get something to fly again. I do need that motivation. And even if it's a bit ugly, I think I could get it to fly. I would need to stick back the motor on it, fix the hinges, maybe use my experience now and use other hinges, and also create a new elevator, because I found half of it. I don't know where the other half is, it's probably somewhere, but I would need to make a completely new one, so probably also separate the rudder and things like that. I think doable. It's probably easier to get the Spitfire to fly than the Hurricane to fly, even on the difference of the conditions. So those are the high level options, right? So I'll try to put in a poll also. Let's see if anybody is brave enough to vote, and then that might help me make up my mind. And in the meantime, I'll carry on also with other projects. So as always, thank you everybody for watching and for following along, and I'll see you next time.